Your life partner is losing interest in you. My beloved child, before your heart begins to panic, take a slow breath and stay with me for a moment, because what you are about to hear is not meant to hurt you, it is meant to awaken you. Sometimes when love grows quiet, the mind quickly believes the worst, yet the truth is often deeper than the fear you feel inside. The distance you sense is real, the silence you notice has meaning, but it is not always the ending your heart imagines. There are moments in every connection when the energy between two souls shifts, when emotions become heavy and words become difficult to speak, and during those moments the mind begins to whisper doubts that were never meant to control your peace. Your life partner has not suddenly forgotten the journey you both walked together, the laughter you shared, the promises spoken under quiet nights, and the warmth that once filled the spaces between your hearts. But something within them has been moving silently, something they themselves have struggled to understand. It is not hatred, it is not betrayal, it is confusion mixed with fear. When a person begins to feel lost inside their own emotions, they sometimes step back from the one they love most, not because they wish to abandon the connection, but because they do not yet know how to explain the storm inside them. You have felt this change, the small differences in the way they speak, the pauses between conversations, the moments when their attention drifts somewhere you cannot see. Your intuition noticed it long before your mind allowed the thought to form. The human heart is sensitive to shifts in energy, especially when those shifts involve someone who once felt like home. Yet the danger lies not in the change itself, but in the stories the mind creates to explain it. Fear can turn a small distance into a mountain of doubt, and once doubt begins to grow, it slowly steals the peace that love once created. Listen carefully to this truth, because it may calm the storm inside you. Interest does not disappear in a single moment, and genuine connection does not vanish without leaving behind traces of emotion. What you are witnessing is not the death of love, it is a period of emotional silence where one soul is searching for clarity. Sometimes people retreat when life becomes overwhelming, when responsibilities grow heavy, when inner battles become louder than the outside world. During such times they may appear distant even from the person they care about the most. Your partner has been carrying thoughts they never learned how to express. Perhaps they fear disappointing you, perhaps they believe they are changing in ways they cannot explain, or perhaps life has placed pressures upon them that have quietly drained their emotional energy. When a person feels emotionally exhausted, they often pull away, not to hurt the one they love, but to protect themselves from saying something they might regret. Silence becomes their shield, distance becomes their hiding place. Yet while they step back, your heart naturally moves closer, trying to understand what happened to the warmth that once flowed freely between you. This is where many relationships begin to suffer, because one soul withdraws while the other searches desperately for answers. The more you chase the reason, the more pressure the other person feels, and the distance unintentionally grows wider. Love, when placed under pressure, can become confused, and confusion can make two people who care deeply begin to feel like strangers. But remember this carefully, the story is not finished. Moments of emotional distance are not rare in long connections. They are often signs that something deeper needs attention. Sometimes love evolves and both partners must rediscover how to understand each other again. The person you once knew may be changing, and you two are growing in ways you may not fully notice. Growth can be beautiful, but it can also create temporary misalignment between two hearts that once moved perfectly together. Instead of assuming that interest is fading forever, look more gently at the situation. Notice whether the silence hides unspoken stress, whether the distance hides tiredness, whether the quiet moments hide thoughts they are afraid to share. Many people carry worries about the future, financial pressure, personal insecurities, or unresolved emotions from the past. When these burdens grow heavy, even love can temporarily feel distant. Not because the love disappeared, but because the mind became crowded with fears and responsibilities. You must also remember that love cannot breathe in an atmosphere of constant suspicion. If every silence is treated like betrayal, if every distraction is interpreted as rejection, the connection begins to feel like a place of tension instead of comfort. People naturally move toward environments where they feel safe and understood. When they sense that every action is being judged or questioned, they may unconsciously step further away. So the question you must ask yourself is not only why your partner feels distant, but also how the space between you can become gentle again. Love often returns to warmth when understanding replaces fear. Sometimes all it takes is patience, calm conversation, and the courage to listen without accusing. Many relationships heal not through dramatic gestures, but through quiet moments of honesty where both hearts finally speak the truths they were afraid to share. Your partner may be struggling with feelings they cannot easily explain. They may be questioning their direction in life, feeling uncertain about their purpose, or dealing with pressures that have nothing to do with you at all. When someone enters such a phase, their emotional energy becomes limited. They may unintentionally give less attention to the relationship simply because they are trying to survive their own internal confusion. This does not mean you should ignore your feelings. Your emotions are valid and deserve respect. But the way you respond to this moment will shape what happens next. If you approach the situation with anger and accusation, the distance will grow. If you approach it with calm curiosity and compassion, the door for healing remains open. Relationships are fragile ecosystems where both people influence the emotional climate. One gentle response can sometimes dissolve tension that months of silence created. It is also possible that your partner is quietly waiting for a moment of peace before opening their heart again. Many people avoid serious conversations because they fear conflict. They wait for the right time, the right mood, the right emotional safety. If the environment feels tense or unpredictable, they delay speaking even longer. In such situations, patience becomes a powerful act of love. Remember that interest is not measured only by constant attention. Sometimes love exists quietly beneath the surface, hidden by temporary struggles. The memories you built together still live inside both of you. Shared laughter, late-night talks, dreams spoken softly in hopeful moments. Those things do not disappear easily. They remain like roots beneath the soil, waiting for the right conditions to grow again. So instead of believing that everything is ending, allow yourself to observe with clarity. Notice how your partner behaves in small ways. Do they still care about your well-being? Do they still respond when something truly matters? Do they still show small signs of concern even during their quiet moments? These subtle signals often reveal more truth than dramatic assumptions. Love is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers while life becomes noisy around it. And sometimes two people must walk through a temporary fog before they can see each other clearly again. What matters most is whether both hearts are still willing to understand each other when the moment for honesty finally arrives. My beloved soul, remain patient with your heart for a little longer, because the story unfolding in your life is deeper than the surface signs you have been noticing. When you feel that your life partner is slowly losing interest, the first emotion that rises inside you is fear. Fear begins to whisper that something precious is slipping away, that the bond you once trusted may not be as strong as it used to be. But what you must understand is that relationships often pass through silent seasons. Just like the sky changes from bright morning to quiet evening, the energy between two people can also move through phases that feel unfamiliar. During these phases the connection does not always disappear, sometimes it simply becomes hidden beneath layers of stress, misunderstandings, and unspoken emotions. Your partner may be carrying burdens they never learned how to share, worries that sit quietly in their mind while the world continues moving around them. When someone feels overwhelmed by life, they sometimes withdraw from emotional closeness, not because they wish to push love away, but because they feel uncertain about their own inner state. They may worry that speaking honestly will create conflict or disappointment. So instead of explaining what they feel, they grow quiet, and that quietness begins to look like distance. From your side it appears as if interest is fading, as if the warmth that once lived between you has slowly cooled. But from their side it may simply be confusion mixed with emotional exhaustion. Life can weigh heavily on a person when responsibilities increase and personal struggles remain unresolved. A heart that feels tired sometimes forgets how to express affection clearly. Yet deep within that tiredness the memory of love often still exists. Think about the journey you and your partner have already shared. There were moments when everything felt effortless. Conversations flowed naturally and laughter filled the space between you. During those times you probably believed the connection would always remain the same. But the truth about human relationships is that they evolve as people grow. The person you fell in love with years ago may now be facing different challenges, different dreams, and different fears. Growth changes people in subtle ways. Sometimes those changes create temporary distance before a new understanding can form. The mistake many couples make during this period is assuming that change automatically means loss. In reality, change often invites both partners to rediscover each other again. The love that once felt simple may need to become deeper and more conscious. Instead of relying only on past emotions, both souls must learn how to communicate and support each other through new circumstances. Your heart might still feel restless though. You may notice that messages take longer to receive replies, that conversations are shorter than before, or that your partner seems distracted even when you are together. These signs can make the mind imagine painful possibilities. But imagination is not always truth. The mind tends to create dramatic explanations when information is incomplete. A simple silence can suddenly look like rejection, and a moment of distraction can appear like indifference. That is why patience becomes so important during uncertain times. Patience allows clarity to appear where fear once lived. Instead of reacting to every small change, patience encourages you to observe calmly and understand the deeper picture. There is also something important about emotional energy that many people overlook. Every human being has periods when their inner energy becomes low. During those periods they may feel less expressive, less affectionate, and less engaged in conversation. It does not necessarily mean their love disappeared. It simply means their emotional resources are temporarily reduced. Just as the body becomes tired after long work, the heart can become tired after long emotional struggles. When someone reaches that point, they need space to recover their strength. If they feel pressured to behave exactly as they did before, the exhaustion can become even heavier. But when they feel supported and understood, their natural warmth often returns slowly. Your partner may also be experiencing personal questions about their own identity and purpose. Many people go through moments when they quietly ask themselves where their life is going and what truly fulfills them. During such inner questioning, their attention turns inward. They may spend more time thinking and less time expressing affection outwardly. To the outside observer it can look like detachment, yet inside their mind a deep process of self-reflection may be happening. When this phase eventually settles, they often return to their relationships with greater clarity and appreciation. But this situation is not only about your partner. It is also an opportunity for you to look gently at your own emotional needs. Sometimes when we feel someone pulling away, we react by holding tighter, seeking constant reassurance that everything is still secure. While this reaction is natural, it can unintentionally create pressure. Love grows best when both people feel free to express themselves without fear. If your partner senses that every moment of silence will be interpreted as a problem, they may feel even more hesitant to communicate honestly. That is why calm openness becomes more powerful than anxious questioning. When you create a peaceful environment for conversation, your partner may eventually feel safe enough to share what they have been experiencing internally. Communication is the bridge that reconnects two hearts when distance appears. But true communication is not only about speaking, it is also about listening without immediate judgment. Many couples talk to each other while secretly preparing arguments in their mind. Genuine listening means allowing the other person to express themselves fully, even if their feelings are complicated or difficult to hear. When someone finally feels understood rather than criticized, emotional walls begin to soften. The distance that once seemed impossible to cross suddenly becomes easier to navigate. There may come a moment soon when your partner chooses to open their heart about what they have been going through. When that moment arrives, it will require courage from both of you. They will need courage to reveal their vulnerability, and you will need courage to hear their truth with patience. Sometimes the explanation may surprise you. It might have nothing to do with a lack of love. Instead, it may involve stress from work, worries about the future, or personal doubts they have been hiding for a long time. When hidden worries are finally spoken aloud, they often lose much of their power. The relationship then gains a new level of honesty that was not present before. Even if the connection between you has felt weaker recently, remember that the foundation of shared experiences still exists. You and your partner have already invested time, memories, and emotional energy into this bond. Those things create roots that are not easily erased. Many relationships experience moments when one partner wonders if love is fading, yet later they discover that the connection simply needed attention and understanding to grow again. What appears like distance today may eventually become the reason your relationship becomes stronger and more mature. Your role during this period is not to panic but to remain emotionally balanced. Continue living your life with confidence and self-respect. Show kindness without losing your sense of independence. When a person sees that their partner remains calm and grounded even during uncertain moments, they often feel more comfortable returning to emotional closeness. Stability is attractive because it provides safety. When both people feel safe, love has room to breathe again. There is also a quiet strength in giving space when it is needed. Space does not mean abandonment. It simply means allowing the other person time to reconnect with their own thoughts. Imagine holding a bird gently in your hands. If you squeeze too tightly, it becomes frightened and tries to escape. But if you hold it calmly and allow it freedom, it may choose to stay near you by its own will. Relationships function in a similar way. Love grows when it is offered freely rather than demanded constantly. As time moves forward, the truth about your partner's feelings will become clearer. Either the distance will slowly close as communication improves, or both of you will realize that your paths are changing in different directions. But even that realization would not mean failure. Sometimes relationships fulfill their purpose by teaching both people important lessons about themselves. However, you must not assume the worst before giving understanding a genuine chance. Many beautiful relationships have survived moments that once seemed like the beginning of the end. So for now, allow your heart to remain calm. Do not let fear write the story before the truth has revealed itself. Your life partner may be moving through an internal chapter that requires patience rather than panic. Continue showing the quiet qualities that made your connection meaningful in the first place. Respect, kindness, and honest communication are powerful forces that can revive even a fading emotional spark. Remember this final truth as you move through this uncertain moment. Love is not proven only during times of excitement and attention. Its real strength appears when two people face confusion yet still choose understanding over anger. If both of you remain willing to listen and grow, the connection between you may transform into something even deeper than before. And one day you may look back at this difficult period and realize that it was not the moment when love ended, it was the moment when love asked both of you to become stronger. My beloved soul, stay with this message a little longer, because the truth unfolding in your life is not meant to be rushed. When a heart senses distance from someone it deeply cares about, it begins to search for answers everywhere. You replay old conversations in your mind, you look at small details in their behavior, you wonder if something changed suddenly or if the signs were always there and you simply did not notice them before. This process can feel exhausting because the mind keeps moving in circles, trying to solve a mystery that only time and honest understanding can reveal. But listen carefully to this gentle truth. When love experiences uncertainty, the most powerful thing a person can do is remain steady within themselves. Your value does not depend on how much attention someone gives you in a single moment. Your worth is not measured by how quickly someone responds to your message or how often they express affection. You are valuable because of the heart you carry, the loyalty you offer, and the sincerity you bring into the lives of others. When you remember this, fear loses some of its power over your thoughts. Your life partner may be moving through a chapter of their life where emotions feel confusing even to them. Many people reach moments where they quietly question everything around them. They ask themselves whether they are moving in the right direction, whether they are becoming the person they hope to be, whether the responsibilities they carry are shaping their life in ways they never expected. During these moments of reflection, their emotional focus often shifts inward. They become quieter, more thoughtful, sometimes distant without intending to hurt anyone. To an outside observer it may appear as if interest has faded, but inside their mind a complex process of self-evaluation may be unfolding. Humans are not simple creatures who remain emotionally constant every day. We move through phases of clarity and confusion, confidence and doubt, energy and exhaustion. When your partner is inside one of those confusing phases, their behavior may not reflect the love they still carry deep inside. You may remember the earlier days of your relationship when everything felt vibrant and certain. Those memories are powerful because they remind you of how strong the connection once felt. Yet relationships do not remain frozen in their early stages. The excitement of new love gradually transforms into something deeper and more realistic. Responsibilities appear, life becomes more complicated, and the easy moments of attention are sometimes replaced by practical concerns about the future. This transformation is natural, but if couples do not nurture their emotional bond during these changes, distance can quietly appear between them. It is not always dramatic. Often it begins with small misunderstandings, unspoken frustrations, or long days when both people are simply too tired to communicate openly. Over time these small gaps create a feeling that something important is missing. Your heart has noticed this shift, and that awareness shows how deeply you care about the relationship. Many people ignore emotional signals until the connection is already broken. The fact that you are paying attention means you still believe the bond is meaningful. That belief can become a powerful source of healing if it is guided by patience rather than fear. When someone you love seems less engaged, your instinct may be to demand reassurance or explanations. But demanding answers rarely creates genuine understanding. True clarity often appears when conversations happen in a calm and respectful environment where both people feel safe to express their feelings honestly. Imagine what your partner might be experiencing if they sense pressure while already feeling confused inside. They may worry that any explanation they give will disappoint you. They may fear that their uncertainty will cause arguments or emotional pain. Because of that fear they might choose silence instead of honesty, hoping that their feelings will eventually settle on their own. Unfortunately, silence can create even more confusion for the other person. The distance grows not because love disappeared, but because both hearts are protecting themselves in different ways. You seek answers to protect your emotional security, while they avoid difficult conversations to protect their peace. When both partners move in these opposite directions, misunderstanding becomes almost inevitable. That is why compassion becomes essential during moments like this. Compassion means trying to see the situation from the other person's perspective, even if you do not fully understand their behavior. It means recognizing that everyone carries invisible struggles. Your partner may appear calm on the outside while dealing with worries about work, financial pressure, family responsibilities, or personal goals that feel uncertain. These worries can quietly drain emotional energy, leaving little space for romantic expression. When someone feels overwhelmed by life, their ability to show affection may temporarily decrease. Yet the feeling of love itself may still exist beneath that exhaustion. There is also something important about the way human attention works. At the beginning of a relationship, attention flows naturally because everything feels new and exciting. Over time, familiarity appears, and the mind begins to focus on other areas of life as well. This does not mean the relationship becomes less important. It simply means that attention must now be nurtured intentionally rather than appearing automatically. Couples who understand this truth learn to create moments where they reconnect emotionally despite busy schedules and personal challenges. They talk openly about their feelings, they listen carefully to each other, and they make small efforts to remind each other that the connection still matters. You may wonder what role you should play during this uncertain period. The answer is not to chase or withdraw completely, but to remain balanced. Continue expressing kindness and genuine care without overwhelming your partner with constant questions. Show them that your presence is supportive rather than demanding. Sometimes a calm environment is exactly what someone needs in order to rediscover their emotional clarity. When they realize that you respect their space while still valuing the relationship, they may feel more comfortable sharing what has been on their mind. Another important step is to remain connected with your own sense of identity. When a person fears losing their partner's interest, they sometimes forget their own passions and priorities. They begin focusing entirely on the relationship, hoping that constant attention will repair the distance. But healthy love grows when both individuals maintain their personal strength and independence. When you continue pursuing your goals, interests, and friendships, you show that your happiness does not depend solely on another person's mood. This confidence often brings new balance to the relationship because it removes the pressure of emotional dependency. If the moment comes when you and your partner speak honestly about what has been happening, approach that conversation with openness rather than blame. Ask questions with genuine curiosity. Let them explain their thoughts without interrupting. Share your own feelings calmly, focusing on how the situation affects you rather than accusing them of wrongdoing. Conversations guided by empathy can reveal truths that both partners were afraid to express before. My beloved soul, as this message reaches its final moments, listen with complete stillness inside your heart, because the truth you are about to understand is not only about your life partner, it is about you. Sometimes when we feel someone drifting away, the universe is quietly asking us to remember our own strength. Love is powerful, but it should never make you forget your own light. The person standing beside you in life is meant to walk with you, not to become the only reason you feel worthy of happiness. When interest seems to fade, it does not erase the love you once shared, and it does not erase the value of your heart. Every moment you gave, every care you showed, every effort you made was real, and nothing about that was wasted. Your life partner may still be searching for clarity inside themselves, trying to understand feelings they have not yet found the courage to explain. Or perhaps they are slowly realizing what your presence truly means to them. Sometimes people step away emotionally only to discover that the connection they almost lost was more important than they ever realized. Distance has a strange way of revealing the truth about what the heart truly values. And in many cases, the silence that once felt frightening becomes the moment that brings two souls back together with deeper understanding. But there is also another possibility that must be faced with quiet courage. Sometimes distance appears because two people are slowly growing in different directions. Life changes, dreams evolve, and paths that once moved together begin to separate. If that truth ever becomes clear, it does not mean your story was a mistake. It simply means that chapter fulfilled its purpose in your journey. The love you experienced shaped you, strengthened you, and taught you lessons that will stay with you long after the pain fades. A heart that has loved deeply is never empty. It becomes wiser, stronger, and more capable of recognizing genuine connection in the future. So as you move forward from this moment, hold your heart with gentleness. Do not chase someone who has already decided to walk away, but do not close the door on someone who may still be finding their way back. Allow time to reveal what words cannot yet explain. Trust that the truth will always rise to the surface eventually, because real feelings cannot remain hidden forever. And remember this final truth: the most powerful love you will ever experience begins within your own soul. When you respect yourself, value your peace, and refuse to accept anything less than genuine care, the right people will naturally recognize your worth. Whether your life partner returns with renewed understanding or whether life guides you toward a new connection entirely, your future still holds love that is honest, calm, and deeply fulfilling. Because what is meant for your heart will never need to beg for your presence, never need to question your value, and never need to fade away in silence. The love that truly belongs in your life will stay, will grow, and will meet your soul with the same sincerity you have always offered to the world. And when that moment arrives, you will finally understand that every doubt, every tear, and every lesson led you exactly where your heart was always meant to be.